Spinach is gross. It just is. It doesn't taste good. People like to saute it. It's too bitter. It's disgusting. However, Australians have found spinach that's worthwhile because it will cause symptoms such as hallucinations and delirium. So look, there's a lot to say about this leafy green discovery, some questions that need to be answered. However, this has to do with I guess some sort of contamination that's been going on with the spinach in Australia, and people have been experiencing some pretty crazy symptoms. On Monday, New South Wales's health ministry said in an update that 164 people in the eastern state had reported symptoms after eating the spinach, of which at least 42 had sought medical attention. That part's not fun. But the symptoms can be severe and include delirium or confusion, hallucinations, dilated pupils, rapid heart rate, flushed face, blurred vision, dry mouth, and skin, and fever.
Wait a minute, that sounds a little bit familiar. Cottonmouth, blurred vision, hallucinations from time to time. I feel like there's another green leafy substance that might create that effect.
Let's keep going. Let's see what we discover. It's an adventure. You guys ready? Let's go on a journey. So what's actually going on? Well, the Victorian grower at the center of the recall, and the spinach has been recalled, Riviera Farms, said testing was underway on weed plants, which can have health consequences if consumed. It is believed the weeds were harvested alongside the baby spinach and processed as such,
thereby accidentally creating the Reese's peanut butter cups of weed. You put your weed in my spinach. You put your spinach in my weed. Wait a minute, we're on to something here.
Now look, I'm being cheeky here, okay? Because you don't want to experience these kinds of symptoms when all you want to do is eat a disgusting, bitter, leafy green, right?
I mean, you just signed up for disgusting. You didn't sign up for a good time.
But okay, I know this is a little bit of a side note, but can we all just acknowledge that spinach is gross?
Yes and no. So I like the taste of spinach, but I hate the aftertaste of spinach. It tastes so irony, okay? And I don't mean like as in it's ironical, okay? I mean in terms of, it feels like there's metal in my mouth after I eat it.
Yeah, and it's that taste is more pronounced when you saute it. I don't get why they saute spinach. Like, stop sauteing the spinach. Stop it.
Okay, unless there's weed in it, in which case, continue.
Now let's give you some more details. Dr. Brett Summerell, who's the chief scientist at Sydney's Royal Botanic Gardens, said that toxic plants, including nightshades, could be to blame. This is likely to be a nightshade. I've never heard of that in my life.
But I like how he's throwing nightshade on it.
No, right? When young, they are just a few dark green leaves, which is probably not that much different to spinach. You're harvesting all these leafy greens now at a very young age. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to identify. So it sounds like the nightshades are getting mixed in the nasty spinach. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, this is how people used to do discoveries way back in the day, and anthropologists, et cetera, have traced it back. So they'll be like, oh, in this part of Yemen, people all of a sudden started like being really alert, and people didn't know what was going on. And then they discovered it's this new bean called a coffee bean, okay?
Or what about in Bolivia, right, with the cocoa plants and stuff?
Right, and then there'll be other parts of the world where they're like, the natives all of a sudden started having a great time, didn't get anything done, okay?
No, but they got a lot done, that's the point.
Well, it depends on what you discovered in different places.
Yeah, exactly. But by the way, the plant that I just referred to, that's just one of many plants that can cause this issue, if you want to call it an issue. There are lots of plants that could do this, lots of weeds that are relatives to potato and tomato. Why am I just learning about this now? We're just seeing lots and lots of weed infestations.
Is that what we're calling it?
When you have floods and things moving around, it can be sometimes quite hard to control, okay? So it's a weed infestation. And apparently there are more weeds than one that cause trippy symptoms like hallucinations and delirium.
Yeah.
In fact, the weed is also very well disguised, which makes it even harder for the farmers to weed them out, if you will, of the final product.
We're here all week.
And so Michael Coote,
fun name.
Definitely. Chief executive of Vegetable Peak Industry Body Osvej, said the weed that had ended up in the spinach products was a leafy green plant. It is another piece of plant matter from a weed that has been found on this particular farm that has made it through the harvest and packing process and then into products, he said. It's not the spinach itself, it's that it's causing these health issues. Look, in all seriousness, no one wants to hallucinate unless they're like consenting to it ahead of time, right? Like that can't be fun. So I'm, again, not trying to be like too dismissive of the people who ended up hospitalized over this. But maybe be a little more careful with where you plant the spinach and how you harvest the spinach.
Nah.
But like, if I remember correctly, when the story was being pitched in the meeting, some people were like looking for the spinach after it was recalled.
Yeah, for sure. No, the minute the news broke that there's accidentally weed in the spinach, everybody's like, run on spinach! Okay, and then they had to recall it in a panic because then people want it. That's like the only thing that's ever been, like, ever see a run on a spinach that has E. coli? No.
No, never, that's never happened.
But like, they're like, oh, there's accidentally weed in the spinach. They're like, did you say what I think you said? Yeah. And I love the idea that there's spinach that makes you hallucinate. Makes you like maybe think that you're skinny, but then you grow these gigantic muscles and maybe you're a sailor. Maybe that's what happened to him. Okay, he got the Osvej version of the spinach.
What was Popeye's like thing that he would say?
Yeah, I forgot. Bart, you remember? I know he was into olive oil. He was very skinny.
Olive oil.
Right, I know. Was it Brutus was his main enemy?
Yeah, Brutus was his main enemy, and he would say, "I am what I am."
I am what I am.
Yeah. Well, it turns out you are what you eat, and maybe that's what he was eating.
Yeah.
And let's note finally the most important part of the story. Mr. Kutza, very fun name, but Osvej is the worst title for any agency ever, anywhere. I assume it's short for Australian vegetation.
No, Cenk, they get it. They get it. You don't need to clarify it for them.
No, I just want to be clear. Okay.
Just want to do a thorough job. Right. Good job.
I do. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.